And we're recording.
Talking with William Coleman about Terrence Kimble, a man who served 19 years in prison for a crime that, by all accounts, he didn't commit. Real quickly, can you give me just a snapshot on how he connected with your life when you were a correctional officer?
Well, the way me and him got together, how we connected was he was being abused by a correctional officer, and he brought his situation to me, and I blew the whistle on it, and that's how we got together.
And then later, when you blew the whistle in a bigger light on the Oregon State Penitentiary and the hate crimes and the racism that was going on inside of there, ultimately they retaliated against you by bringing false charges. You nearly could have gone to prison yourself for many years.
Yes, that's true. The trumped up charges that they brung up, it almost cost me 75 years of my life, but I beat those charges.
You did. And you beat them because, again, of this man, Terrence Kimble, an inmate in the Oregon State Penitentiary who testified for you in court and led to you getting a unanimous not guilty verdict on that.
Correct. And I'm glad that this incident happened now, because the fact is I have an opportunity to expose the corruption and the malicious prosecution the way they doing this guy. He's spending 19 years in prison for a crime he did not commit.
Right. So this crime was ultimately sex abuse. He was initially charged with rape. This involved a minor, and the emergency room report indicates that the girl had not been traumatized and that she had actually never had sex in her life.
Yes. She told the police, she told the court that she was raped. She told the court that. Come to find out, the doctor reports say she was a virgin. Nothing ever happens. She denies all allegations or all that anything happened to her. She said she had no injuries, no nothing. She told the doctor this, even though the doctor was going to know anyway because he the one that examined her. So she told the right person the truth, but she told the court and she told the police a lie.
You know, Will, it's really hard, I think, for people to put their minds around the idea that racism is such a predominant factor in our courts today in Oregon, but you've seen this time and time again, haven't you?
Yes, over and over and over. And I'm believing and hoping that Kate Brown pardon this guy, drop all charges, and what we need to do is go after those guys who maliciously prosecute this guy. We're talking about the DA, we're talking about judges that maliciously prosecute and send people to prison for no reason at all, with no evidence, no physical evidence, nothing. Everything that she said couldn't match. She lied about the whole entire case.
And to further emphasize what you're saying, there was absolutely no DNA match, and they even made a preposterous reference to a single spermatozoa cell.
Yes, they say they found one spermatozoa, which is one sperm when you got millions and millions of sperm cells. I'm trying to figure out how can you just get one. And then come to find out that one that they found was not a match with Kimble. So why is he still in prison? And why is the Department of Justice, they won't retest the DNA?
The DNA would take care of this all by itself, and the Department of Justice in Oregon refuses to retest.
They refuse to retest. I have documents to prove that. And like I say, I don't understand this. I mean, it's malicious, because the fact is that he should have been freed when she said she was raped.
Right.
And come to find out, she was still intact. She was so virgin. It never happened. No injuries nowhere. And another thing, she claimed that it was a ripped blouse, ripped underwear, all this, but
None of that was ever produced at the trial.
never produced. And also a knife that he's supposed to allegedly use. No knife, nothing found. But he was charged with a weapon. Yes, he was.
Yes, and when Kimble was arrested initially by police, he was beaten severely and actually put in the hospital before they could even put him in jail. Is that correct?
Correct. See, the main thing about not just that is that she wanted to stay late at the birthday party. And Kimble said, no, you're on my watch, because the mother had went out of town. And so he said, I'm going to pick you up around 9 o'clock. She wanted to be there till midnight. So when the police arrived at the birthday party house, whatever the party was at, Kimble was there. And matter of fact, Kimble gave them direction to the house. And if a guy committed a crime like that earlier, there's no way he would be able to stand there and face the police. He would know that the police there for him. So that's it just, nothing add up. They have no evidence that this crime even took place.
I know there's so much to say. And now this man has done 19 years as a sex offender. Obviously, that heightened his all of his risks being incarcerated, didn't it? I mean, it made him more at risk.
Of course, by being labeled as a sex offender, that's your whole entire life. You can't go places you generally go without someone looking over your shoulder. He just can't have a normal life. That's why I'm hoping that the state of Oregon do the right thing. Let's drop all charges against Mr. Kimble and try to find out why the DA and the judge went through with this case when they had no evidence whatsoever. Not even that, the alleged victim family took the side of Mr. Kimble in court. They told the judge, let him out. He'd come stay with our kids. This was mentioned in court. And not only that, the uncle clearly stated, say, hey, I talked with my niece, I talked with all the girls. And after having a conversation, this never happened. He told the court that there's nowhere in America where a young lady or a family have kids that are being raped, they take the side of the guy or person that did the crime. That's nowhere in America.
No, that would be the only time that ever happened. Okay, so you're hoping right now, and because Kimble's almost out, he'll be out in a few days, but you still want Kate Brown to commute or dismiss these charges against him.
Well,
that's where you're at now with this.
I spoke personally with Kate Brown about 9 months ago, and she clearly told me she gonna look into this case. And 9 months, it's almost been a year now, and she haven't responded about this case. But she seemed like, I don't know what to think of her. I think she just don't care about black families. I have to keep it real. That's what I think. Because something like this, she should step to the plate and let this man go and try to find out why this case even went to court. It should have never went to trial. A case like this should never went to trial. It's clearly malicious prosecution. And I just think any DA, district attorney, they should have never took this case to trial. So I'm trying to figure out how a case like this could go to trial. And first of all, her first encounter that morning, when she was allegedly raped that night before, her first encounter that morning was her school teachers. No one talked to the school teachers.
No one from the district attorney's office contacted the teachers to say, how did this young lady behave this morning? What was her demeanor?
Correct. What was her demeanor like? No one contacted the school teachers. So that's, them not doing that, they had an agenda.
Right. And one more thing I want to throw in, that Terrence Kimble, prior to this all happening, had become a motivational speaker, right? He came through the ghettos, he lived a hard life, gangbanging, all that, but then ended up becoming a person that was a mentor to other people.
Yes, back in Oakland, California, that's where he's from. He come up, he was selling drugs, robbing drug dealers. That was his life, robbing drug dealers. He's not a sex offender, But the thing is that they use his past life to convict him. That's what I really believe, on top of everything else, because they had nothing, everything the alleged victim quoted. She say she was raped. It didn't happen. She said he grabbed her by the throat and dragged her. No bruises, no what the doctor say. She denied all injuries. Then she say she changed her panties because she didn't want them to think it was a dream. She said this in writing. She didn't want to think it was a dream. All this could have been a dream. And they still gave this man 19 years in prison. Unbelievable. Never seen a case this worse on charges brought against with no evidence whatsoever. No evidence whatsoever. We're not talking about a sex abuse case where a child been sex abused for months and then all of a sudden she decides 6 months later to report it. We're talking about something that happened instantly. So,
yeah, if she had been assaulted, there would have been bruising. There would have been signs of this.
That's what I'm getting at. So, and she denied all injury. All injury. She mentioned about hurting her feet. I remember she mentioned that. She hurt her foot by trying to go out a door. She talked about that, but as far as any body injury, no. It should have been something there, because Kim was a big boy. And if he grabbed her around the neck and dragged her, it would have been bruises. That's what I'm getting at. If he ripped her, the way she say she pulled her legs apart, it would have been bruises down there. And the way she say that when he penetrated her, how I heard it, the doctor would have seen bruises down there. It would have been proof that she was assaulted. But there's no proof. No facts in this case. It's malicious prosecution, and I believe the state of Oregon need to tighten up and start putting away those guys who bring cases like that to court. The DNA, if the judges go along with it, they all don't need their jobs, period.
That's great. How long will we?